Hello, who's there?
Good evening, everybody. Hi, Dennis. Good evening, everybody. Great to be here. As a matter of interest, the point they've just passed is one of 2 points on this track that they actually get into fifth gear. There are only 2 points. The one is on the straight before they go into the Hooghaken, or other in English it'll be the Hooghoek. Just before that they're in fifth, and then just after that you'll see the bridge. We'll mention it in commentary. The TUV Rhineland. The curve is actually the Advan Bogen, Bogen being the German word for bow. That's the second point at which they actually get to fifth gear. The rest of it is all fourth, third, and sometimes even as low as second. I'd be with you, Dennis. It's perfect here by me. Oh. Which hopefully is what the people out there are seeing as well. It certainly looks good from what I can see. Just for reference, the Mercedes Arena is turn, well, I don't know how the Germans number it, but it's that Mercedes Arena which is turn 1, I suppose 2, 3, and 4, and that carousel that you saw there, or the Mallemele as Afrikaans people would call it, that overlooks the Mercedes Arena, which is probably one of the more exciting places. If you're at the top of the turn of that carousel, would be a nice place to watch the racing from. It's not bad if you consider that the purple that Adrian now he's actually done purple sector 1 and 2. Adrian now quickest in sector 1 at a 43.5, which means Jandre is only 0.3 of a second behind him in sector 1. So certainly I expect Jandre to jump up into the top 5 or thereabouts, depending how the rest of his lap goes. Rhineland Bridge goes into a right-hand, what they call the Advanbogen, or the Advanbow in English, and then into the Vidal chicane. It might be there where the simulator is getting quite strict, because through that chicane, as you said earlier, you must use just the right amount of curbing to actually use it to your advantage. Up 0.6 slower than Adrian, who I think has the fastest time as he jumps away Adrian onto a new outlap. Willem's certainly going well, and we've seen in this race, just as a bit of history, I've done some reading up on the Nurburgring and sim racing, specifically at the Nurburgring. Turn 1 at the Nurburgring is rated as the 6th worst corner in sim racing. It's about 160 degrees, just at a rough guess, right? But the reason they rate it as the 6th worst corner is being turn 1 and the start, everybody is still very, very bunched. So unless the guys are really, really well mannered and go through it, and then you have, of course, the Mercedes Arena, which is very tight as well, which is probably turn 2, 3, and 4.
Brandon. His personal best first and second sector.
Can't miss that bright orange Jägermeister car. And 14th, that's a nice one.
Personal best in the middle sector coming across the final sector here. Let's see where it's going. 611 on that lap, so he didn't improve.
And since actually gone up, he was in 4th, he's up into 2nd.
Sorry, yes, the time jumped and I was looking at the time, it was actually previous driver's time.
Yeah, it's shown as his outlap, but with the time gone, he'll have to come in and will probably not get the lap.
And Peter Murray is on a lap, but he's not looking very good, so he's decided to jump to the pits. And Murray is still on track. The rowing brigade that are still on track, so we have Murray having validated that. We have Jean-Andre coming across the line. Let's see his personal best, so let's see if he can improve. He's currently 3rd, and he lost it, so didn't quite put it all together. Alright, so as the drivers now prepare, gather their thoughts and everything, we're going to jump to a quick ad break before we go live for race 1.
Until then, we'll see you later.
guys. I am just going to drop volumes, so I'm doing something totally different with the volumes. Hopefully everything sounds alright. You guys can just let me know. I believe my volume is once again too soft. I am going to hopefully sound a bit louder now. So if you guys can just let me know, how does my volume sound right now to Sean, if Sean would like to say hello to everyone.
Good evening, everybody. Dennis, I can hear you really very well. And hopefully with the volume adjustment, I did tell the guys that they might have to turn the volume up slightly because Dennis is going to tone me down. But away they go on the formation lap. And certainly a very, very exciting circuit this is to drive around. And as we discussed in the interviews last week, I think this track specifically also goes to that one thing. This is a big, heavy car that they're racing, and you can't really throw it around willy-nilly because the tires are not going to like that at all, and you have to try and be super smooth with these cars. There's the grid or the driver's standings if you want me to run through, Dennis. Right, Chris Collison, 4 points ahead of Jason Underwood. Dennis Richardson here, he's got a bit back. Jean-Ray Dutoy from PZN Racing, or PZN have PZN panel beaters and PZN Racing. Richardson here in Jean-Ray Dutoy. Brandon Robert from Top Tech I Took a Life is in 5th position. 6th is Timo Smith, Minions Racing. Morne Dutoy is 7th, PZN Racing. Julian Brains, 8th, that's the Team High Revolution Racing. 9th is Willem Steyn, Top Tech IT I Took a Life. 10th is Hilton Nickerson, Top Tech IT. Andre Hildebrand, Top Tech IT Chrome is in 11th. 12th is Jandre de Pnar, PZN panel beaters. And in 13th, Donny Stoner, GDR Racing. Richard van der Westhuizen, Alwin Racing in 14th. And Pieter Marais, PZN Trucking in 15th position. Looks like we've got a smallish field, although 15 out of we normally used to about 20 or 24, I recall. So a little bit smaller tonight than what we used to. Right, Jandre de Pinaar, number 9, PZN panel beaters in 5th. 6th on the grid, Willem Steyn, Top Tech IT, Took a Life, number 63. 7th, number 412, Brandon Olivier, missed number 8. Sean Olivier, Jägermeister car, Richard Sillier, 101. 11th is 135, Hilton Nickerson, Morne Dutoy, PZN Racing, number 777. And the rest of them, Daryl Seavright, the one that you battle with, Dennis, number 87 in 13th. Pieter Marais, number 420 in 14th. Number 72, Andre Hildebrand in 15th. Julian Brains, number 16th. Number 333 is at the back of the grid for now.
That is the starting order. And of course, I'll go through the team standing as well. If you'd like to run us through that, Sean.
Right, Team Harder Racing lead by a fair amount at 372 points. PZN Racing 313 points in second. Top Tech IT Took a Life 293 points. PZN Panel Beaters 278 points in 5th. Team High Revolution Racing 201 points. Top Tech IT 168 points. GDR Racing 161. Top Tech IT Chrome 161. There's a dead heat for 7th and 8th. Minions Racing 149 points. That's in 9th. PZN Trucking 143 points. Team Harder Okuri, that's in 11th, is 131 points. High Revolution Roadside Assistance is 119 points in 12th. The rest are Alwin Racing, Leech Racing, and Midnight Code in 15th.
Right, just in time as the drivers now start to make it up onto the grid. Sort you out no matter what your automotive class requirements are. Right, as the drivers are now forming on the grid.
Reminder, they're going to be running, Dennis, they're going to be running down to the 6th worst corner in sim racing, which is turn 1 at Nurburgring. Right. my warning would have given them something to think about, and they'll keep it clean. It's all good for now. Yeah, car number 63 it was that ran wide. Adrian Nel, of course, being in pole position, got the best of. Here comes the Jack Daniels car, number 69. Just see where he is down on the grid. There's a change of position. Richard Silvier, if my brain and tongue will get into gear, is already up into 9th. Curve or the Dunlop turn, and this hairpin carries on forever before going into the Michael Schumacher S.
Of course, at the front with Adrian now pushing really hard at the moment. Jason Underwood right behind him as well. So Jason's going to cling to him for dear life. And Jean-Louis du Toit not too far behind.
Andre running the number 737. That's one of what I term the Boeing Brigade. PZN racing car, and holding on to that third position, about a second back. Sorry, Dennis, but things happen. But certainly a nice battle here for first and second, although Adrian getting the tail happy on that BMW, which means that Jason can catch up right with him. So, in fact, Jason's got past him, and I just saw the tail get happy. It's almost like a tank slapper, and that was through the Vidal chicane, and that bit him in the bum, and he lost that position, and Jason was right there to scoop it up. But that being said, Jason got the best first and second sector of that first lap, and Jean-Ray du Toit, in fact, got the best third sector of that lap. The third sector, Adrian was 0.6 of a second, but Adrian's got passed again at the Mercedes Arena, and this is a really difficult part of the circuit because it's left, and then right. So yeah, they lean in, all the back end stepping out as they get slightly early on the throttle. There's a right. Just positioning the car very well. There's Jason Underwood for the straight bit, but I think after the straight there's a bridge that they go under, then they into the left, the Valvoline curve, and then immediately followed by the Ford curve. This is the Valvoline curve, and this is the Ford curve. Then they'll have a straight beat. They'll go through Ford curve in third. In fact, they hold third all the way through Valvoline and Ford, then into fourth. Then watch out for the black tower. Here it is. It's the Dunlop tower, and that'll be into the Dunlop curve or the Dunlop hairpin, and that also lasts forever. And I don't think much chance, unless you're really up the inside of somebody before you go into it. That's not the place to pass.
I'm going to try, sorry the button, I'm going to try some. I'm going to mute myself because I'm in two audio locations at once. I'm going to try and mute myself. Hopefully my volume comes through clear this way. If everyone could just let me know at this point, I'm going to mute myself in the one source. Okay, I've now muted the one.
Right, let us know when you're ready, Dennis.
Okay, sure.
But certainly Adrian now, having been past and taken it back again, the TUV Rhineland Bridge is just before the point, as I said before, that they go into fifth gear. One of two places they go into fifth gear, and then they'll come up to the chicane. It's the less vicious of the chicanes. It's the old one, which is the Vidal chicane. Of course, the new one that they use in Formula One to slow the cars right down is the NGK chicane. They're a little bit more than the road being used, and this is Brandon Robert that we're showing from number 402. Brandon, so 6th, 5th, and 4th. So Chris Collison in 4th, Jandre Dippenaar, number 9, is in 5th, and Brandon Robert, number 412, is in 6th position as they go down the straight. The bridge at the beginning of the straight is the BMW M-Power bridge. So watch out for that. Is there a change of position? Well placed, really well placed to take that position, and we'll see them change for those positions as he holds on very nicely through there. Dennis, have you come back to us yet?
I am. I'm here, but I'm not hearing.
No, not hearing Dennis in my headset at all, so I'll take it. And Jandre Dippenaar, the car number 9, is running in 4th position and certainly trying everything he can to stay in position. He's got 0.4 of a second behind him, Chris Collison, number 22. So certainly everything to fight for. the top three, if you look at Adrian now, there's only 0.2 of a second between Adrian and Jason Underwood. Those are cars number 15 and number 1. So Jason Underwood will definitely try and get back at Adrian again. They've passed each other. And then 0.8 of a second further back is Jean-Ray de Toy, the PZN Racing number 737. Well, there's a bit of a touch there up on the inside, but I think that was just enough room given that he actually could take the space. And one position down, let's just find the numbers. It's Chris Collison on Jan-Ray Dippenard, I think, was that change of position. So here's Brandon Robert. Yes, and Brandon Robert had the perfect view of that. You're back with us, Dennis. We haven't heard anything, or I've just had a quick look at YouTube. No comment as yet. The last comment was Basil saying that no sound, but that was quite a while back. So I'll just go back to lap scoring monitor. I'll go and have a look there a little bit later. But yes, certainly interesting racing that Brandon Roberts sees in front of him. But Chris Collison is off like a scalded cat after taking that 4th position from Jan-Ray Dippenard. Let's see if he can catch up to Jean-Ray de Toy, 2.6 seconds, now 2.5, well, it's and decreasing, as Jean-Ray is only half a second behind Jason Underwood. So the racing for 1st, 2nd and 3rd, although Adrian now is 1.5 or 1.4 seconds ahead of Jason Underwood, so he's got away. So is Brandon using, I think, a little bit more than the number 69 car is the Jack Daniels car. This is in the Mercedes arena, and certainly it's a difficult part because the left-hander continues, and then there's the back end step out. He got it nicely controlled again. I would have loved to have seen his hands doing that, because I think that probably kept him very, very busy. So Rian van der Westhuizen, number 69, is at Hilton Nickerson that came past him. So Hilton down in 14th position. So it shows you that if you're in the wrong position at the right, or somebody else does something wrong, and you're an innocent victim, then you lose a position. There's that hanging bridge that I was talking about coming out of the Dunlop curve, and certainly a difficult part of the track that is. I didn't actually number the corners, but I see the back of this bridge as Studio something or other. No, I'll try and Studio 397. So I'll have to look. Well done to them. And the TUV Rhineland Bridge, that's the one, as I said, that's just before, it's a sweep, before they have quite a bit of a distance to go before they get to the Vidal chicane. Here's the Vidal chicane. We have a 19 car with Julian Brains, number 333, and he's in 11th position. He has in sight ahead of him the Team High Revolution, sorry, that's Julian. Peter Murray has the PZN trucking car, number 420. In sight ahead of him, There they come up to that tower, the Dunlop Tower, that takes them through the Dunlop turn, and they go round and round and round, and it continues. And this is one of those points where you've got to be really easy. They're in third gear going around that, and then into fourth just before they go through the Michael Schumacher S. A little bit of curb on the left, a little bit of curb on the right, and they're through the S there. And it, ahead of him, Sean Olivier, that bright orange Team Jägermeister car, number 137. So they seem, yeah, there's 2 seconds between Adrian Newell and Jason Underwood. So fastest lap for the race for Adrian Newell, by the looks of it, a 2:10.5 or 46. So call it a 2:10.5 versus the 2:10.7 by Jason Underwood. So that's the fastest laps. The current laps, they're in the 2:11s, 2:10s, some of them. So let's just see if anybody's quicker than that. No. 2:11 for Jason Underwood, 2:10.9, almost a 2:11 for Jean-Ray de Toy, and a 2:10.8 for Chris Collison. So Chris Collison fractionally quicker than Jean-Ray, but he's 2 seconds behind. The battle that's on at the moment is for second and third. Jason Underwood, number 1, has Jean-Ray de Toy, number 737. PZN Racing is chasing Team Harder Racing. That's what you've got in front of you now, second and third. Yeah, thanks Timo for the feedback. And nice racing here further back. And there's the pass being made. Jason Underwood, Team Harder Racing, Jean-Ray de Toy in 737, still holds on to that third position. So no change there, but it is ever so close. I think it. Now Chris is about 0.2 seconds left. My tongue and my brain losing each other again. Chris Collison at 2:10.8 the last lap. Jean-Ray de Toy, he did a 2:11, and Jason Underwood did a 2:11.1. So certainly the lap times, if you're defending, are not as good as I think if you're racing freely yourself. Car number 22, Chris Collison in fourth. He has them in sight. Underneath the BMW M2 power bridge he goes, and I think that's also where the finish line is, or thereabouts, as they go through turn 1. I think turn 1 is not as bad as what they say for sim racing once everybody is settled. But on the first lap, it's not very nice, and I think the guys need a round of applause that everybody got through there very cleanly, except for 1 or 2 cars running wide. There wasn't any contact, which is great to see them go through the corner. Oh. Where we were in the touring car, the British touring cars, I can hear the car audio, and if you can talk to me, then I can hear if I can hear you as well, Dennis. You are a lot softer than you were before, so I'm not sure if you can jack up your own volume on this feed. Okay, where am I then?
Maybe now, how's that sound?
I can hear you better now. Or let me ask you, is there a way that you can turn out the external audio? In other words, the cars going by.
I can turn that down, yes.
That's a little bit, you can add a little bit more than what you have done now. Because, yeah, that's fine. Now we can hear the outside, hear the cars as well. Be interesting if we go in car, and it would.
Ooh, we see a bit of a move
There's
there.
yeah, back end steps up. That's for second position, if memory serves correctly.
And Jason flashing him there. I don't think Jason's
Yeah.
too happy with that. That was quite a forceful move by Jean.
Yeah. The external audio, or when we go in car, the car itself is very loud, Dennis. Just as a so.
Unfortunately,
Just
not much I
battling.
can do about that because that's a game
Okay.
feature.
Yeah, I think inside these cars are loud. There's another overtaking maneuver happening, and that's on turn 1, I think, as well, in the Mercedes arena.
And further down the field, we've got quite a nice battle for 9th, 10th, and 11th as we see Darrell catching up to Julian, and I believe one front is Peter Marais.
Peter Marai's he's 3 seconds behind Mornay, so I don't think he's a challenge to Mornay. But then behind him, as you say, Julian Brains is only a second behind, and then 0.6 of a second is Darrell Seavright in 11th. The car numbers are 420, 333, and number 87.
Okay, could everyone just perhaps let me know if my volume sounds any different, if Sean sounds any different? We've changed how we are sharing everything now, so hopefully that makes a difference.
You're softy in my ears, and feedback from Rudy is that you are still very soft.
Okay, I'm not too sure why I'm so soft. It's a very odd, I can't quite explain.
Yeah, as I said, the external, they seem to hear me quite well, but the external audio, which I'm happy about because it gives a sort of a more realistic feel to it, is I can hear the cars well, and specifically when we go on board, then it's actually quite loud, but you can see and hear. There's a battle royale going on between the Jägermeister car, and I recognize it by color more than anything else, and who's right behind him there is Brandon Robert. So the Jägermeister car is out in the lead, but they're right there with each other. These guys are using that curb. Here's a nice battle with the cars all close together. There's about 6, 7 of them, of which...
Hopefully I sound a bit louder now as well.
Yes, that sounds a bit better, Dennis. We'll just get confirmation. I'll keep popping over to the... Yeah, Timo Smith says, you're louder than before, but still soft, which is at least a move in the right direction.
Okay, I have made a small change, but there's not much I could do to go any louder than this now.
Although, I don't know if you are using a microphone, when the last 2 words there, you're noticeably louder than the preceding part of the sentence.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, so nice battle going on here between Sean Olivier, which is probably the way you'd pronounce it, the Team Jägermeister number 137, and Brandon Robert right behind him, Top Tech IT Artuka Life number 412, as they go down the straight. This is not them, but now there they are in the distance. Pity they're staying to these 2 cars now because the battle is in the 2 cars ahead of them. But I'm sure we'll switch to them soon. There they go. The Jägermeister car is still in front, but certainly they're battling it out for 12th and 13th position. Everything to fight for. And they're having... Often you find race drivers finishing in the bottom end of the field, which doesn't score very high points, but they come off there and say, wow, we've had a good race. And this is certainly one of those occasions where I think they will enjoy the race, even though they're below the top 10.
Yes, definitely. All right, let's see how the battle is going at the front as well, with Chris Collison now chasing down Jean-Louis du Toit for 2nd place. Jason Underwood has decided to fall in behind in 4th place after being aggressively overtaken by Jean-Louis and then losing momentum and being overtaken by his teammate.
Yeah, they seem to be sort of set. I just want to go to the top of the lap scoring monitor. We have just less than 6 minutes to go. But if you look at the spacing there, they seem to have settled into those positions and not much of a charge there. Number 737, Jean-Louis du Toit, is 4.3 seconds behind the race leader. So there's, I don't think, a way, unless Jean-Louis makes a big mistake. I don't think 1st and 2nd is going to change. But Chris Collison's only 0.7 of a second. That's a Team Harder Racing number 22. He's only 0.6 of a second behind PZN Racing number 737, Jean-Louis du Toit. So things could change there. We'll have to keep our eyes peeled for that.
And of course, we have Rian van der Westhuizen sitting in quite a close battle with 3 cars in front of him, were nicely positioned as well. So it could be a nice end of race battle here as we see the guys.
great show by the two of them.
Of course, now Peter Murray has to look in his mirrors. He's got Rian right behind him, and of course, right behind Rian, he's got Daryl. So, two of them right with him. It looks like Julian's opened up a slight gap of about 2.5 seconds. So, these two, in fact, it looks smaller now. The timing's there. I thought it was saying 2.5, but I think it's less.
It's the distance that Julian is behind Mornay. So Julian's 2.5 seconds behind Mornay, which is number 777. But if you look, Julian has 0.6 of a second Peter Murray behind him, and 0.4 of a second behind Peter is Rian van der Westhuizen as number 69 in the Jack Daniels car. So that's the battle coming towards us now, and everything we're fighting for. It's the one drink against the other. It's the Jägermeister car and then the Jack Daniels car. So they are fighting it out. That's that hanging bridge that is just after the Dunlop corner. And as time races by, we have 3.5 minutes, just under, to go. And everybody holding station for now. But still, you can't make a mistake because there's a bit of slipstreaming. Did he put the car inside? Yes, he did. And the Jägermeister car just loses that position. As we said, things aren't going to change. They certainly do change. And we'll have to see whether he's going to mount a charge back at him. That's the Jägermeister car of Sean Olivier that loses one position. And Sean Olivier has been pushed down. I just need to find him. He's running in 16th place now. So some of these cars, are they all on the same lap? Look how close they are together.
That orange is Peter Murray. It looks kind of similar.
Oh, my mistake. Yes. I missed the split in the color. Oh, there's a bit up on the inside, but they're going out of it. And that corner is actually called the Coca-Cola curve. Just for interest sake, the last corner before they go they're onto the straight. That's the Coca-Cola curve. 412 is
getting very aggressive there as well, having to avoid it. Impact there as the car in front turned in.
Oh, right, two cars. I think that was never going to happen. I think had he been on his own going into the corner at that speed, and again, this is just my opinion, I might be wrong, is he would have probably gone right through the corner. But I think that's now upset quite a few apples in this cart. Daryl Sivright is up into 12th. He's one of them. So let's just see. No, he's down into 15th. So he's one of them that spun. Let's just see who might have won out of that lot. But certainly a big upset there.
I think Rian was the one that gained the most there. And
up into 10th.
It's Daryl, and Daryl ended up spinning, and Rian got through, and Daryl got through, but then Brandon got through after the spin.
Sean Olivier down in 16th position, but 8 seconds adrift of Daryl. So let's see if Daryl can, with only 1 minute 22. So they're doing these laps at 2:10s or thereabouts. At the moment, they're doing 2:11s, although a 2:10.59 for Adrian Nel, the last lap, is not far off the fastest lap of a 2:10.46 by Adrian during the course of the race.
All right, I've dropped, they're saying your volume's fine, mine's a bit too soft, so what I've done is I've dropped yours slightly. Hopefully our volumes are a bit more level now.
I can still hear you clearly, Dennis, so it would be nice to see if we can get some feedback. So Timo Smith says, I'm still fine, Dennis just needs a little bit more volume. Maybe I must talk a little bit softer so that they can hear Dennis a little bit better.
I have dropped it after that comment, so hopefully we'll get another reply in a moment. But back to the racing, Chris having a good look here. Jandre, this of course is the battle for second. Jandre running a bit wide there. Can he bring it back? I don't think so. He's going to be too tight in the next one. Chris will do the cross back maybe. We should get him on the outside here now.
Oh, this is really, really great racing. Chris Collison on Jandre du Toit for second position.
I was expecting him to get a bit more drive out of that corner, but he didn't. Jandre actually got better drive.
Yeah. And this is where you've got to be really smooth with these cars.
And that's the time over. Sorry to butt in. That's the time over. So this is the last lap.
And this is Jandre, so it's only 4 seconds, and they only just got out of the Dunlop, or they're into the Dunlop corner now. So definitely is the last lap, because the race leader will be a little, there they go to the race leader now. I was going to say he's a little bit ahead of him, and he certainly is a long way ahead. It's 4.5 seconds. So there you see first, second, and third. Adrian now from Jandre du Toit, Chris Collison, the numbers 15, 737, and number 22. The teams are Midnight Code, Adrian now, PZN Racing Jean-Ray du Toit, and Team Harder Racing Chris Collison.
So a nice close finish here for the podium. Hopefully we won't have any contact like the final race of the last round.
I think a few lessons have been learned, and there underneath, as I said before, the TUV Rhineland, they select fifth gear for a short bit before they actually go into third and fourth through the Vidal chicane.
Well, Chris gets the
There's a
move.
change. Yeah, it was just a little bit wide, and it just shows you've got to concentrate all the time in this race.
I do
So great
wonder,
change.
though, he did take a lot of chicane there. Maybe he will be penalised for that.
We'll have to wait and see what the results tell us.
Effectively,
We, of course, only...
shortcut to gain a position, and then Jean-Ray ran slightly wide.
Yeah. And once again, just to repeat, I'm not a judge of fact. I only tell you what I see. So my intention is never to offend anybody. But nice close racing nonetheless, which is always great to see. And if we just cast our eyes down now, the car going through is 518 is Rudy van der Westhuizen and PZN. Or is that Monet? Sorry, Monet du Toit, PZN panel beaters. That went through. There's number 69. That's the Jack Daniels car, is Rian van der Westhuizen. He's racing for Alwin Racing, which is the sponsors. Then the Jägermeister car, number 420, which is Pieter Marais racing for PZN Truckers.
And Sean Olivier taking up the rear, unfortunately having a bit of an incident, and I think lost a lot of time. So we're going to jump to an ad break, and we'll be back probably in about 10 minutes time with a reverse grid, top 10 reverse grid for race 2. So we will catch you shortly.
Just let us know how well you can hear Dennis, then hopefully we've moved in the right direction.
All right, catch you then. Right, welcome back everyone. Hopefully volumes are better. Of course, we are now back for race 2 of the Alwin BMW Racing Cup round 4, coming to you live from the Nurburgring in Germany, from Nurburg itself. I'm your commentator Dennis Mitchell, joined once again by Sean Woodgate.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for a good race 1. A little bit of rubbing here and there, but other than that, a spin or two. But just a reminder again that turn 1 is not very nice for sim racing, especially on lap number 1. So let's keep it nice and clean and get everybody into lap 1, at least into the Mercedes arena.
And just looking at our championship standings, I'm just going to flash those up very, very quickly because we did go through them in race 1. So I'm just going to, as a formality, run through those. If everyone needs to, they can always pause if they wanted to read through them. Of course, those will be updated. That is from the end of the previous round. We are round 4 now, but that's the end of round 3's results for the drivers and the teams. Alright, so we can now, I think, have a look at our starting order. It should pop up now if you'd like to quickly run through that.
Waiting for it. Oh, a little bit of a slide there, maybe still getting some heat into the tyres.
Forgetting you behind. So Rian van der Westhuizen in first, Julian Brains in second, in third we have Monet du Toit, in fourth Richard Cillier, in fifth we have Willem Steyn, in sixth Jean-Ray Duppenau, in seventh Jason Underwood, in eighth Jean-Ray du Toit, in ninth Chris Collison, in 10th race 1 winner Adrian Nel, in 11th Brandon Roberts, in 12th Hilton Nixon, in 13th we have Andre Hildebrandt, in 14th Peter Murray, in 15th Daryl Sivenright, and in 16th...
You had it right the first time.
Sean Olivier. It's one of those I just can't get off my tongue correctly. When I do, I doubt myself.
Yeah. Okay, Timo Smith says yes, commentary audio, perfect.
Okay, so that's good to hear. That's a relief.
Yeah, so whatever, Dennis has pulled the rabbit out of the hat and has managed to fix it. So,
alright, so thankfully I can be a part of this one. So I better not curse now.
Yeah, you've forgiven Dennis. We all have our moments. So
it only took me a race and a qualifying session to get it right, or in the previous round.
Yeah.
Better late than never, as my principal used to say.
I've done in my life 1 or 2 races live as the only commentator, and to be quite honest, I get bored of my own voice. So I don't know what it's like as a spectator, or in this case, even the drivers can hear the commentary. But certainly, it must be quite interesting to at least hear a variation, a different voice.
Yes, it's always nice. The variety is the spice of life, as they say.
Yeah, Alwin Racing, who are the sponsors of the series, they must be quite happy that their man, Rian van der Westhuizen, is in pole position for this rolling start, race number 2.
And away they go. Nice.
And he's got
start.
the pedal down.
It looks like Jean-Ray in the background was alongside, but no, I think it's Jason in front of him. Jason managed to defend nicely there. Jason on the inside here into the 6th worst corner in sim racing. That's going to stick. I'll never forget that. As we see.
The 5th worst just has a chance of turn 9 and 10 at Zandvoort. There's a pass, somebody got out of that corner really slow. And
I think that was behind. I think that was it Jean-Ray that got past Adrian?
I think it might have been Jason, in fact, that made a pass actually, because it's even further back than that. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But nice close, but fair racing at this stage.
Alright, so let's have a look at some of the other guys. Of course, Adrian is now coming through the pack as well. He's our race 1 leader. Jean-Ray is actually just at the fastest first sector at the moment, of a 44.258. So we are watching the right person.
Yeah, so that gives you an idea. Even though far back, they are letting each other race. As we go on board,
you can see who's where.
And yeah, you've got to bide your time. I think you've got to be really careful getting through the pack. And a reminder as well that there's another 23.5 minutes to do it, so you don't have to do it all on race 1. There's a potential pass on car number 9. That's Jean-Ray Duppenau with Jean-Ray du Toit right behind him.
Ooh, looked like a little bit of a slowdown there, and a couple of the guys almost coming together.
Yeah,
I think it was Willem that maybe slowed down Jason, and Jason slowed down Yandre, so they're all slowly getting boxed in there.
yeah, and he had nowhere to go, did Jason.
Yandre taking
So-
full advantage of it, nice sneaking past as well.
Yes, and that was absolutely fair. Is that the back marker? They're on lap 1, so there's no blue flags. And if the back marker happens to slow you down, or their off goes, was that Jason?
That's Chris going off there.
Chris, yeah. Their car colors are just so similar. But Peter Murray holding it all together, coming out of the Coca-Cola curve and down the straight. They seem to have settled now, but some of them will be less happy the way that turned out. And one of those will be, I think, Peter Murray. Or no, it's in fact Sean Olivier in the Jägermeister car that is right at the back of the field now. There's Peter coming out of turn 1.
Lots happening at the moment. Now, Peter is in 11th place at the moment as we see him now.
So he's trying to hold on to that for dear life. That's number 420, Peter Murray. And I get that car confused with the Jägermeister on the front on view because they both, there's a bit of a tap.
And a penalty
With
for
a
the
close-
car hitting him as well. I'm not sure if that's anything to do with that, but Hilton just got a penalty for something.
Yeah. Oh, there's a spin. And that was that 135?
That was Hilton
So it's
Nicholson.
Hilton. Yeah. So sorry, it's yes, it was 135. So I did see the number correctly as it spun. There.
Adrian now has
Look
got
at that
you on
one.
Jean de Tour. Look at this pack as they've all together here.
I was about to mention that, and that's out of the Dunlop turn, which is all the way down the furthest distance away from. It's the opposite end of the last corner, put it that way. So there they go up the hill now towards the Michelin curve, then the Warsteiner. I haven't mentioned Warsteiner, which is of course a very nice beer they brew in Germany. That's a right-hander. And then they get to the TUV Rheinland bridge, and then the Advanbau or the Advanbogen, which is 5th gear for an instant.
As we see this dual screen view at the moment, which you no longer can see, but we're watching
Yes.
Willem Steyn at the moment on screen. You can see his mouth going away, so I'm not sure if he's happy or unhappy about something.
I've just noticed as well there's advertising just before the Vidal chicane. One of the cars going off there,
Which is
and
Mornay
I have an
Victoria.
idea. Yeah, it was Mornay, the PZM panel beaters car number 777. He's back on, but he's battling to. It appears that he's battling to keep the car going in the line that he would like it to go.
Right, let's jump to full screen again. You see Adrian getting it back in all over the show. Managing to still pull off a pass there on Yandre Dippenaar.
Well, I don't think it's midfield. It's the back of midfield. This is an incredible battle to have them so close together, and they're into the race. Let's have a quick look. They're already 5 minutes into the race, and still such a close pack so far down. And this is, of course, the quicker guys trying to get past the, shall we call it, the guys that ended in the bottom half of the first race. They have to get through. Here's car number 9 trying to battle it out, and certainly is very, very tough racing. If we have a look, car number 9 is Yandre Dippenaar, PZN panel beaters, and is that race winner that's in front of him?
Yes, it is. And
Yeah, so
the race one winner, by the way, is Adrian Nel, who was drafted in by Yandre Dippenaar. I'm sure he's glad on one hand, but also not glad because now he's seeing his positions being taken away from him.
And the team ahead of this car, this is the PZN. I've always got to get them right. This is the PZN panel beaters, but Adrian Nel races a PZN Midnight Code, the team. So, yeah, they are doing very well, but they've got traffic ahead of them, which they've just got to be very careful as they go through underneath the TV Rheinland, then into the Advanbau, and then it'll be into the Vidal chicane. 5th gear, there's the Vidal advertising banner, as I said, on the right. You just see it briefly. Is there a change? No. They should just hold on to position going through there. They're fighting really hard. Are these 1, 2, 3, and then another 3 So everything to race for, and points, of course, are valuable. Let's just see if we go back to the view of the lap scoring monitor. Rian van der Westhuizen leads, and he's 1.7 seconds ahead of Jason Underwood. Adrian Nel is number 15. He's up into third position. So certainly a good race that he's had, considering where he started because of the reverse grid. It makes the second race very interesting. That dip is quite vicious on turn one. If you just look
Yes.
at what's happening there.
That was very aggressive the way the car bounced there.
Yeah. But I've noticed also when, even on the formation lap, when they came through there, hugging the inside of that corner, as it were, it's quite a steep dip. If you need to be a little bit off the curbing, actually, then it doesn't catch you as badly as what it did that car a few seconds ago. 3 abreast. And I'm talking so much I don't notice where they are on the circuit.
I clicked on the wrong car. I was meant to actually click on Jean because I believe he was the one, I think, leading the pack. He was on the outside. Seems to have got away from the other two. It's Willem and Brandon behind him. They now have, who is it behind them? Chris Collison. Chris slowly coming back. He just set the fastest first sector of the race as well, so perhaps we can watch him. He's looking to go through the middle there. I don't think that's wise, as he gets cut off. Up the inside.
Andre de Toy has this battle of 3 behind him, which is allowing him to actually get away.
Yeah, Chris looking up the inside there into the Schumacher S's. I don't think that's a very good place to pass. Out of the S's maybe, but into it you're going to lose a lot of time and momentum. But yeah, if you get this corner right down the hill through that kink that's got a name, which I've already forgotten, before the Vidal, this is a good place to get good momentum.
It's the Abwanbogen.
Yes.
That one. There's Vidal. Now you see the banner quite nicely. That tells you that they're going into the chicane. It helps when you got the branding on the circuit, and I quite enjoy this circuit from a commentary perspective. But there's using, that's sort of straightening out the curve a little bit too much, I should imagine, as we wait and see if car number 22, Chris Collison, is in 8th position. Let's see, he actually just set up a best time in sector 1 on that lap. If he's going to actually make up a position. As they complete the lap, Chris, with a good time, a really good time, he is up into, well, he's still in 8th position, but Jason Underwood leads from Adrian Nel. So Adrian Nel, well, they passed and repassed. Adrian Nel was up to second. Jandre Dippenaar is back up to second. So that means that Jason Underwood now only has, well, they neck and neck, is Jason Underwood and Jandre Dippenaar for first and second.
And Rian van der Westhuizen, sorry to button, Rian van der Westhuizen has dropped down to 11th. He went tumbling down the times, and these guys have closed in. So I'm not sure if they caught up to him and there was an incident, maybe.
Might have been out of sight, but certainly they are racing each other. Jason, that's first, second, and third that you see in front of you now. That's Team Harder Racing number 1, Jason Underwood, leading from Jandre Dippenaar, PZN Panel Beaters number 9, and third, Adrian Nel, Midnight Code. He's trying to hold on, actually makes a pass as I say it, and has that he been allowed through by Jandre? We don't know, but the Midnight Code car number 15 now up into second position as we look back from the number 9 car of Jandre Dippenaar, PZN Panel Beaters.
Right, so the next target for Adrian Nel is Jason Underwood, our defending champion.
Half a second between the two of them, and well, as soon as you've got them 1 or 2 car lengths apart, he actually drifts out of the circuit. Sometimes they get strict on that. That's the natural flow of the car. That's not a good idea because you're actually going onto sand, which reduces your drive once you get onto the straight, and you've got dirty tires. Vidal chicane up next, and he's too far back to even think of mounting a challenge. So, you know, this is, as we said before, this is the gentler of the 2 chicanes. The NGK chicane is quite vicious. But yeah, the Coca-Cola curve,
and for those
and they're
of you,
into the straight.
A lot of racers are very superstitious. One of the superstitions in racing is don't ever run number 1. It brings you bad luck. Jason Underwood is running number 1 and he's struggling at the moment. I don't know that he's got bad luck, but he's definitely struggling to get the race victories like he did in the previous season.
And he drifts all the way out wide. Has he left enough space?
Oh.
Has Adrian Nel got it well positioned?
Rubbing is racing. Nice bit of rubbing there. It's all good so far.
Yeah, at least nobody went off, nobody spun off, and everybody can live to battle it out for another 13 minutes and 20 seconds, at least. That, of course, means that Jandré Dippenaar can catch up to Adrian Nel. But Adrian Nel loses at least 5 or 6 car lengths to Jason Underwood. The gap is now 0.6 of a second.
Yeah, so that gave a little bit of extra breathing room to Jason, and I'm sure that'll give him probably a lap to, I wouldn't say relax, but certainly to gather himself again and hopefully get on pace.
If you have the ability, Dennis, is there a chance that we can look at 10th and 11th?
Of course.
Because Darrell Seavright, the one with the difficult name, is just ahead of Rian van der Westhuizen for 11th and 10th. It's 0.2 of a second. Darrell Seavright in the Team Hardo Ukuri number 87. And Alwin Racing's number 69, the Jack Daniels car of Rian van der Westhuizen. Yeah, they are, as they are. That certainly meant that his lost distance has Rian van der Westhuizen from the man with the difficult surname, Darrell Seavright. So Darrell now has 1.1 seconds, and that's easy. Let's cast our eyes up. Brandon Robert in 8th position is only 0.4 of a second behind Willem Steyn in 7th. That's Top Tech, IT, or Tuka Life fighting each other for 7th and 8th.
Of course, so right in front of them is Julian Brains as well, 0.2 behind in front of Willem.
Julian runs the Team High Revolution Racing number 333. So nice battles going all over the place. And that's the white car with the green stripe, shall we say. Also fairly easy to recognize. But even if you look at this, we are 14 and a half minutes into the race. And the cars are still quite tight in places. Nice battles going on all over the show, which, as I said before, often a guy will walk away from a race meeting and hasn't been in the top 10, but tell you that he's had a stunning race. And that's just the way race car drivers are. They don't want to run in total, even winning in total isolation. It's nice to win, but you want to be taken all the way to the end for that one. The back end steps out, he's going to lose that position if no. I wonder if there wasn't a
penalty point for that, because you get penalty points for running off track, and that was definitely off track.
Yes, that was actually quite a long way.
Yeah, unless you roll off and are seen not to gain an advantage, and that looked like he didn't roll off. So he's probably got some penalty points. You have a maximum of 5 per race, and depending how much you can, if you cut a chicane, go flat out through a chicane, you can maybe get 2 points off. So he probably got 0.5 or 0.75 there.
Like the car behind them there, that there's a bit of a tap into the Coca-Cola curve. That's certainly going to go to the commission, and of course now you'll have to try and get the car around without impeding any of the drivers behind him. So that's going to be quite, well, I wouldn't say interesting, but car number 63 is probably going to have to chat to a few gentlemen. That's Willem Steyn in the Otaku Life Racing car number 63. Probably be somebody that would like to have a word with him at some stage.
Yes.
That's car number 737.
Sorry, but at least he did roll off and allow the guy to come back again. Because some of the drivers, that's kind of like a code between the drivers. If you knock a guy off, and then you slow down and let them by, and then hopefully they won't complain. And then you kind of don't get a penalty then.
But look what's happening. 1, 2, 3 cars right together, and not far behind them are another 2, which are fighting for all they're worth. And this is really interesting racing all the way down. So Jason Underwood leads from Adrian now by 0.2 of a second. So that's first and second. Then 737 is Jean-Ray du Toit. That's the three cars you see in the distance. This is the Dunlop tower here on our right, which has now disappeared from view. So it's the Dunlop curve. Then they'll be into fourth gear for the Michael Schumacher S. But certainly first, second, and third, or first and second and third, they're running a quarter of a second, first and second and second to third. That's a quarter second or less. Here comes Adrian now. Up the inside, he tries to make it work. And in so doing, he gets Jean-Ray du Toit right up with him for company. And then fourth and fifth is Jandre Dippenaar and Chris Collison right up there soon, I think, as they go through underneath the TUV Rhineland banner. And that will take them into the, let's see where it is, into the Advanbogen and into the chicane again. Right, 22. Yeah, Chris Collison, he's fighting all he can to get past Jandre Dippenaar in front of him. And Jandre in the PZN panel beaters car, oh, there he rolls off the throttle. Had he not done so, I think he would have been straight into the back of that car. So well done to Chris Collison there. Actually got off the throttle completely, and I think also changed his racing line, because I think Jandre had a bad exit out of the corner. So wise racing, you still have another 7 minutes dead now to actually get at him, so you no need to do it right now. You can always fight in another corner, and he's done just that. So a great bit of racing there, in my opinion, from Chris Collison. So this is Chris Collison behind Jandre Dippenaar. They're in fourth and fifth as we wait for the camera to pan round. Ahead of them are three cars, Jandre du Toit, Adrian Nel, and Jason Underwood, which is first, second, and third.
So Jason dipping a wheel on the dirt there.
Yeah. Jason's in the blue car, Adrian's in the red car, and Jandre is in the green car. So just to give you an idea of who's running where, that's for first, second, and third. So there's the red car in second, that's Adrian Nel, racing Midnight Code.
And the blue car that we see right now has got the number 1 on the side. It also has a number 1 and a trophy on the back of the car, which is to show the trophy that he won from the previous round.
Right, so certainly one of the quicker guys that has come through the pack, or at least a portion of the pack because of the reverse grid. But as we've said before, the quicker guys, whether they start 10th or 1st, they show that they're quicker for a reason, and they've actually just done that. The fastest lap is actually Jandre du Toit, the number 737 green car. I'm not sure what lap that was set on. So even though Jandre is running in third position, he's got the quickest lap at 2 minutes 10.9.
I think it's just a matter of time though before Adrian gets past Jason. He's looking very, very comfortable there at the moment. Maybe just waiting for the tires, letting everything pan out. Might even have a move here.
Yeah, Adrian might be up on the inside for the Coca-Cola curve. He decides to go off it and come back at him later. I think the history out of race 2 last week, a lot of the drivers are making different decisions tonight, which is, in my opinion, the right decisions. We've seen one or two, we have seen a tap and a spin in the final curve, but yeah, he's going to try and go around the outside. I don't think this is the corner to do that, but he drifts him all the way. Wow, really takes up all the road. And then,
as a result, Jandre is now right there with him again.
Yeah, so Jandre is quite happy about that, because his PZN Racing number 737 is right up with first and second. And now Adrian can't just attack, he's got to defend as well. He's got to keep in mind that this green machine, the Boeing Brigade, is right there with him.
You can see at the back of Adrian's car, the right side of the bumper is a little bit dinged in. So it's obviously a little bit of a tap from someone. I forget who that was. It was one of the blue cars. It might have been Jason at some point when they were racing. But good racing so far. And like you say, the guys look like they've learned a little bit from last round, and they're certainly racing hard, but much cleaner so far.
Yeah. Here it comes.
As we see the contact.
Yeah, that was a door not quite left open, but it was taken. We'll have to see if there's going to be an appeal there. But nonetheless, the change is made. So Adrian now leads from Jason Underwood, car number 15 ahead of car number 1. But Jason still has, let's see, 3 3/4 minutes to get past him. So depending where they are and when they finish this lap, it might be 2 more laps to go. It might only be this lap and 1 more. we'll have to see as they cross the finish line what time is left, knowing that they do a 2:10 or thereabouts. They're at the back end of the circuit. Actually, they're going into the chicane soon. So you'll see the Vidal banner come up. So the Vidal chicane looming as the top three are right there with each other. Now it's who goes where, and now what line do you block? And it looks like, I think Jason made that mistake all on his own.
I think he was too busy watching Jean-Andre on his right-hand side.
Yeah, and Adrian now retains first, Jean-Ray up into second, Jason down into third.
And Jason, I think he's going to go for a lunge here. He looks like he's got the momentum, and I think he might go for it.
He's about 2 car lengths back and the length of the car itself. So, no, I think he's decided against it.
Looked like he rolled out of it there.
But the Mercedes
like thinking it.
Yeah, the Mercedes arena itself, even though it's quite a complex corner, I don't think it's a great place for overtaking unless the guy in front of you makes a big mistake because of the change of direction or just the continuous change of direction, and then one last change to the right, and everybody holds position. It's the first time they can breathe a little bit as they go out of the Mercedes arena on their way to the Valvoline curve, which is a lefty, and then the Ford curve, which is a right. Here's Valvoline. There's looks like Jason had a moment there. He managed to regain it, but it looks like he did that all on his own because Jean-Ray is 1.7 seconds behind him. So I think Jason, I'm not sure if he's out of tires or what might have happened, but he certainly lost a lot of distance. And let's just see, the clock ticks down, 1 minute 45 to go. So looking where they are now, I'm not quite sure that they'll finish this lap. The chances are they might just finish this lap.
And then there'll be one more, yeah.
Yes.
And with regards to Jason's tyres, I think maybe with the incident where he slid, he's maybe overheated his tyres slightly, and you've got to wait probably about half a lap to a lap for the temperatures to come back down again. And of course, you need to then drive slightly slower for them to come down a bit. So he's in a bit of a catch-22. He needs to push, but he can't push because he needs to cool his tyres. And I think maybe he's trying to push, and the car is getting a bit loose.
Realistically speaking, if he finishes in third, he gets 31 points compared to second gets 33 points. So it's only a 2-point difference. So in the old saying that you got to first finish to finish first, in his case, you've got to first finish to get some points. So I think he'll be concentrating on finishing rather than taking the position back again.
Yeah, right. As we see, Chris Collison now having a good look up the inside here. Looks like Jean-Andre gave him a little bit of room there. Chris, I think
nice of Jean-Andre to do so. Right, with 35 seconds remaining, this will be the last lap.
Yes, indeed.
So Chris Collison is in fourth, just by the way, and Jean-Andre Dippenaar, the PZN panel beaters car number 9, is in fifth. Chris Collison races for Team Harder Racing, and Team Harder are sitting with Jason and Chris are sitting in third and fifth position. So as a team, they're doing quite well. Midnight Code is Midnight Code is on their own, but the PZN Racing is Jean-Ray de Tooy, PZN Panel Beaters is Jean-Ray Dippenaar, Jean-Ray de Tooy number 737, the green car, and then Jean-Ray Dippenaar, the PZN Panel Beaters. So similar, but not the same team.
Of course, Jean-Ray Dippenaar has got past Chris Collison, so he made a move into turn 1. He allowed Chris past into the Coca-Cola corner, but then into the sixth worst corner in sim racing, decided to take a lunge and managed to make it stick.
We did say that the fifth worst corner is turn 9 and 10 at Zandvoort. The fourth worst is the hairpin at the Hockenheim ring, and the third is La Sauce, or otherwise known as turn 1 at Spa.
And this is the battle for the lead, by the way. This is Jean-Ray de Tooy right behind Adrian Nel.
I'm not sure that Adrian Nel's going to like that too much, but nonetheless, he only has to concentrate on defending. Now that he's in the front, he doesn't have to attack anymore, and he certainly uses all of the road and some more. But a mistake there a mistake by Jean-Ray, and it costs him a lot. He loses second, who's our third, fourth. They go past him while he's on the grass. So where he was running for second, all on his own, we heard it and saw it as he put the wheels on the grass, and that's the price he paid for it. So I think that's first and second done and dusted. There's first, there's second, and third and fourth are still being decided as they go through the Vidal chicane. But cutting the corner is both of them, so we'll have to wait and see whether any penalties are meted.
Looks like a penalty there for Chris because he's pulling into the pit lane. As Alwin now
Yeah.
takes the victory from Jason Underwood, and Andre Duppenor and Chris Collison going through the pit lane. So serving a penalty, I presume that's a drive-through penalty that he got for that final cut.
Yeah, is this going to be an interesting case of at what time does he pass the finish line?
Yes.
As I recall Michael Schumacher doing many years ago.
Yes, and that's why some tracks have moved the pit lane back to avoid that.
So, nonetheless, the race is done, and from what we can see, Adrian Nell, number 15, won it. That's the Midnight Code, number 15, from Jason Underwood. The Team Harder Racing, number 1. Jandre Dippenaar, number 9, taking 3rd position ahead of Brandon Robert. Top Tech took a Taku Life. They, as a team, did very well. They got 4th and 5th, Willem Stein being in 5th. So that Top Tech IT team doing really well. Then Jean-Ray de Toy, the 737 car that was running so well, in 2nd position, finishing 6th overall. If we look.
And Chris Collison, after that penalty, ended up in 9th place. So wherever the finish line is relative to the pit lane, he's come out in 9th place.
Right, so, but the cars that went past when the incident happened with the 737 car spinning, they were not that far behind. So and also remember, you've got to stick to the pit lane restriction speed, so they're going to come past you very quickly. But yes, interesting finish to a race or interesting events to the race in the final few corners again.
Yes. And of course, the only driver that hasn't crossed the line to finish is Andre Hildebrand, who's still on track. Coming across now to finish. At least he's on the same lap as everyone else. He wasn't lapped, which is always a positive. And we'll get some points at least. I believe that's what, 3 points for 12th place. I think it. Oh, he's coming in for a. Is that a penalty or is that an in-lap? Either way, we're going to go to a quick ad break and we'll be back with the top 3 if they're available. Otherwise, whatever top 3 drivers are available. So we'll be back with you guys shortly. right, welcome back everyone. That is, of course, the end of round 4 of the Alwin BMW Racing Cup, coming to you live from Nurburgring in Germany. Myself, Dennis Mitchell, and Sean Woodgate have enjoyed this round greatly. It's been a very exciting round. I'm joined, of course, by the top 3 drivers tonight. Thankfully, they're all available. So, coming first overall is Adrian Nel, second overall is Jason Underwood, and third overall, Jandre Duppenaar. So perhaps we can start with Adrian. Adrian, I'm going to bring the first question to you, and perhaps Sean can jump to Jason afterwards. But great racing tonight. A very, very competitive, close racing. And last week we saw the same, unfortunately, incidents in the final race. Tonight we had lots of close racing, a lot of rubbing in that, but it seemed a lot fairer this week. Were you happy with your race results? Obviously a double win, you should be happy with the results.
I'm very happy. The track suits me well. If we get, I like this car because I can get rotation out of it. That's how I usually drive my vehicles, like rear-wheel drive cars. You get rotation out. I'm quite fast with the vehicle. The car suits me well, I think.
Yeah, I think they are great cars, and you definitely can drive on the right foot.
Yeah, definitely. It's a like Sarl always used to tell about the escorts. If you read his book, you drive it with the right foot, but you must. With these cars, you have to do it with the right margin, not to overdo it, then you lose time. But if you do it right, you gain a lot of time, actually.
And you driving the car, I see you getting a lot more loose than what the others are, and yet you're not losing momentum. Are you using traction control, or are you having the traction control set to off?
The traction control is off. Because the cars are, if you drive them not hard into the corner, they understeer quite badly. So that's why you must get them turned initially, and then you can gain a lot of time with that. Because the setup's locked, that's why. If you could open the setup, then you could do a lot of things to drive the car differently. But yeah.
All right, then Sean, if you'd like to head the questions for Jason.
Oh, Jason, a nice race. Once again, congratulations to everybody. And also, we did say in commentary there were a few occasions that we saw. I think, Jason, you were actually one. Maybe it was Chris, your guys, the colors are so similar. But we did see tonight that on one occasion, that last corner Coca-Cola curve, where the guy in front actually got the exit wrong and had the person behind. And if it was you, well done, because the guys raced with their heads tonight, I think, mostly. The one that actually had a bit of bad luck was Jandre. But great racing from you guys up in the front, and you stuck it out and eventually got, I wouldn't say gifted, you had to be there. I did say in commentary as well, you first got to finish to actually get the points, and Jandre just overcooking, using a little bit more track. But you were there, you got the points, well done.
Thank you very much.
And the circuit, do you enjoy the circuit? It looks as though it must tire you out because there's a lot of work per lap.
Yeah, it depends on the race scenario, really. If you get into a flow of it, then it's not too bad. But when you're challenging other drivers race in, race out, then yeah, it will get a bit tiring, but all in all, not too bad.
Right stuff, thanks. Jandre, you had an interesting race, if it's probably the best way to describe it. But at the end, finishing third overall, you must be quite chuffed with that.
Yes, I am. I had a lot of difficulties and technical problems in this league from my own side, and I'm not sure what else. This whole week I've been struggling with equipment, but I seem to sort it out by last night. Not last night, Friday night, and that was the only time that I really could have started practicing. And yeah, I had a hell of a dice with Chris.
Yeah, certainly was interesting racing. Chris, I think, is actually the one where you got the exit wrong in the last corner, and Chris actually rolled off completely to avoid running into the back of you, now that I replay the situation. So nice, mature racing tonight.
Yeah, it was.
And turn one, is it as bad as what I found on the internet in the first lap? Is it so bad that they rate it as the 6th worst corner in sim racing?
Oh, tonight I think it's the worst one.
That's interesting. Just for interest, I don't know if you heard, the fifth worst rated corner is turns 9 and 10 at Zandvoort. Then I don't know if you've raced any of the others. Fourth is the hairpin at Hockenheimring. Third is La Source, or turn 1 at Spa. Second worst corner is the Andretti hairpin at Laguna Seca. And the first worst corner, the winner of that championship, is turn 1 at Monza, which is the Variante del Rettifilo. So just as a bit of useless information.
I'm just going to quickly throw a question there for Yandre as well, since we're still on Yandre. Yandre, like you say, you've been having quite a few issues with these cars and with hardware and things, and you finally got your race together. You had a fantastic battle here with Chris. It was nice and clean, pretty much half of the second half of race 2 the whole way. I didn't actually notice, but were you guys battling at all in race 1?
Race 1, we had a battle, I think for 3 laps, and he got past me, and he just went for it. So I don't know what happened in the second race, if his tires was gone or what the problem was. But I was also more calm in the second race and just raced my race and didn't worry about him at the back of me. So I think that also played a role.
I think Chris was caught out by some other incident happening and took avoiding action. He actually dropped down, I think, to 9th place and then came back up, or sorry, lower down and came back up. So I think he was trying to do a recovery drive, and that's when he got up to you, and you guys had such a nice battle for the remainder of the race.
Yes.
All right, then, Sean, do you want to perhaps do the final questions to everyone?
One question to Adrian. For a long part of this race, the second race, you were trying to attack and you had to defend. How does that change your driving style when you've got to you have to be like a chameleon, one eye in front of you and one eye behind, compared to being in the front and just having to run your own race?
Usually I don't try to focus on the guy behind. I do look in the mirrors to see if he's making moves to keep the door open to remove incidents, but I always try to, if it's in a situation like that, not to hold myself up, to focus on the guy ahead rather, to get past him. So I remove myself from the middle, if that makes sense. And that usually works out better than trying to block the guy from behind. So
yeah, that's sort of what I would have expected, and certainly a great race tonight. And thank you everybody that took part as competitors. I enjoyed myself tremendously. Over to you, Dennis.
Okay, let's do the shout-outs, and if we can start with Adrian. Any shout-outs from your side?
Well, first shout out to the team. We worked well this evening. The guys put in a lot of effort and everything. Thanks to Yandre. He helped me out to get the track in the car and such again. I appreciate that tremendously. Then, yeah, shout out to Tao Energy Drink. They're a good sponsor of mine as well. I'm also the Namibian distributor for them, so we're growing that as well. And I know they got a nice esports image as well in the South African esports community. So I'm always happy to fly the name high where it's possible.
Great stuff. And then, Jason, any shout-outs from your side?
Yeah, well done to everyone. Thanks to all the supporters. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, and Yandre, any shout-outs from your side?
Yeah, I want to say thank you to the team for all their hard work that they put in, to President panel beaters and Formula Couriers. It's like I said last week, or on Wednesday night, it's a new sponsor that we've got. They're sending around our stuff in Namibia for us for free if we want to send it amongst other sim racers. And to all the supporters, and to Caroline also for always watching the stream and supporting me. Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys. I'm going to just drop you all into the other channel for now, and then myself and Sean can say our goodbyes. So thank you, guys, once again, and well done to everyone, and well done to Adrian for his double victory tonight. Then, Sean, that's the end of this round. We've now come to the end of round 4. Of course, for the next round, we will have Kyalami Grand Prix, which is a track familiar to most of us. So that will be next week. Hopefully it will be normal time, depending on load shedding. Tonight we ran an hour late because of my load shedding. So this way we're at least able to run tonight rather than postponing for another week. hopefully next week we'll be back to our normal schedule. So that should be around about the 7:30 time. I must actually check the load shedding, but otherwise we will have the radical race in the week, also depending on load shedding on my side, and that'll be Wednesday night. So until, I guess, Wednesday night or Sunday night, depending on what you're watching, remember to always hit the like and subscribe. And of course, Sean as well, thank you very much for being here and making it as good as it is, and for all your commentary.
It was a pleasure, Dennis. Certainly a fun evening, I think, and well raced by everybody. And I think you need to be complimented on your perseverance of getting your own audio to such a level that everybody could hear the both of us, because it doesn't help. They hear me well and they don't hear you at all. That gets boring. And for being an active participant in the race and being able to split the commentary, it's always nice commentating with you. And I enjoyed the track. I enjoyed the driving. I certainly will look forward to. It's the first time I'm actually going to be going around the new Kyalami circuit next week, even though being in sim racing, I look forward to that tremendously.
And before I say our final goodbyes, of course, thank you very much to Alwin Automotive Glass for making everything possible. And of course, you can head over to www.alwin.co.za if you have any automotive glass requirements. But also thank you to all our members, all our drivers, all the guys that take part, all the guys that watch, and all the supporters on YouTube, all the guys that we haven't had a chance to mention because of all the action happening, like Rudy van der Vestes, and good evening, and Timo Smith, good evening, and of course yourself, Sean, commenting in there, and Richard Cillier in there commentating, Morkel Vermeulen, and Hilton even in there commentating, saying hello. So all the guys, thank you guys for taking part, and Shirley's in there as well, supporting Brandon, and Basil van Rijn, good to have Basil watching our stream still. And all the guys, thank you very much. You guys are the guys that make this all possible. So thanks very much, and we will catch you guys all Wednesday and Sunday. So good evening and have a good week.
Night, everybody.